Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, Key. Hope you are all doing well. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you never miss any important updates. Today we will discuss about Fall of Berlin, End of the Third Reich. The introduction, titled Setting the Stage for the Fall of Berlin, serves as a crucial framework for understanding the dramatic conclusion of the Third Reich during World War II. This segment lays the groundwork by painting a vivid picture of the socio-political and military conditions that led to one of the most significant events of the 20th century. The concept highlights the convergence of factors that preceded the Soviet assault on Berlin, effectively sealing the fate of Nazi Germany. The relevance of such a backdrop is paramount as it underscores the inevitable collapse of the regime, marked by deteriorating leadership, dwindling resources, and unrelenting Allied advances. To appreciate the strategic significance of Berlin's fall, consider the massive Soviet offensive, known as the Vistula-Oder Offensive, launched in January 1945. This operation pushed German forces into a rapid retreat, signaling the narrowing grip of the Third Reich. Additionally, the Yalta Conference earlier that year exemplifies the Allied determination to dismantle Hitler's stronghold, further shaping post-war Europe. These examples highlight the momentum shift towards an Allied victory and emphasize the inevitability of Berlin's downfall. The consensus among historians reinforces the importance of setting the stage for understanding the fall of Berlin. The meticulous planning and coordination among Allied forces are often credited with effectively crippling Nazi Germany's ability to sustain the war effort. However, some debates arise over alternative scenarios, such as potential strategies Germany might have employed to alter or delay the outcome. Skeptics also point to controversies surrounding Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin's strategic aims, which were not always harmonized and had implications for post-war geopolitics. The perspective provided here also connects to broader themes within the main topic, such as the psychological impact on both German citizens and soldiers as the city faced ruin. Fear, desperation, and the looming reality of unconditional surrender played into the chaotic dash for survival. Furthermore, this point is vital for contextualizing the role of leadership, or lack thereof, evidenced by Hitler's deteriorating condition and the symbolic end of Nazi dominance. Lastly, setting the stage also guides the audience through the ensuing political restructuring and the beginning of Cold War dynamics, which were birthed from the ashes of Berlin's fall. By delving into these elements, the narrative surrounding the Third Reich's final chapter becomes richer, presenting a multifaceted view of this historical milestone. The term key players, the Allied forces, and the Axis powers refers to the principal combatant groups involved in the climactic struggles during World War II, leading to the fall of Berlin and the subsequent end of the Third Reich. The Allied forces primarily included the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, with support from other nations like France and Canada. The Axis powers, on the other hand, were led by Nazi Germany, Italy, and Japan. The significance of these key players is crucial in understanding the multifaceted military, political, and social dynamics that culminated in the collapse of Nazi Germany and the eventual liberation of Europe. A notable example highlighting the importance of these key players is Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941. This strategic blunder stretched German resources thin and set the stage for the Soviet Union's resolute counteroffensive. Another pivotal moment was the Normandy invasion, also known as D-Day, in June 1944. This Allied assault marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe and severely weakened German defenses. Together, these examples show the strategic planning and military prowess that turned the tide in favor of the Allies. Supporters of the Allied strategy often cite the effective cooperation and resource mobilization among the Allied nations as a major factor in their success. The ability of these countries to come together, despite differing political ideologies and post-war objectives, demonstrated a level of international collaboration aimed at dismantling a common threat to global peace and security. However, the narrative of the Allied and Axis powers is not without its controversies. The devastation wrought by the war, including civilian casualties and widespread destruction, raises ethical questions about military strategies employed by both sides. Additionally, debates linger about the role of the Western Allies during the early years of the war and their hesitance to open a second front to relieve Soviet forces. Ultimately, The interactions and strategies of the Allied and Axis powers inherently shaped the outcome of World War II and the fall of Berlin. These events not only marked the end of the Third Reich, but also laid the groundwork for a new world order, influencing geopolitical alignments that continued into the Cold War era. Understanding these key players not only illuminates the strategic military engagement central to the fall of Berlin, but also underscores the political consequences that followed the end of the Third Reich. The strategic importance of Berlin during the fall of the Third Reich cannot be overstated, as it served as both a symbolic and tactical target. Symbolically, Berlin was the heart of Nazi Germany, the epicenter of Adolf Hitler's regime, and the site where major decisions on the war were made. Capturing Berlin meant more than gaining territorial control. It represented the collapse of Nazi ideology and the definitive end of Hitler's dominance. Tactically, Berlin was pivotal because of its position as the nexus of military communications, transportation networks, and industrial capabilities, making it a critical target for Allied forces. The significance of Berlin as a strategic target is profound. The city's capture would demoralize German forces and citizenry, diminish the Nazis' capacity for command and control, and signal to the world that Nazi Germany was conclusively defeated. For the Allies, particularly the Soviets who took the lead in the assault, seizing Berlin first was also a political maneuver to establish their influence in post-war Europe. Two specific events underscore Berlin's strategic importance. First, the Battle of Berlin in April-May 1940, a massive Soviet onslaught, showcased the city as the final battleground. This confrontation resulted in Hitler's suicide and the subsequent surrender of German forces, effectively ending the European conflict in World War II. Second, the Yalta Conference earlier that year had highlighted Berlin's significance, as leaders Churchill, Roosevelt, and Stalin debated how post-war Europe would be shaped, with Berlin at the heart of negotiations given its symbolic and strategic value. Supporters of Berlin's strategic importance argue that targeting the city accelerated the war's end and minimized further casualties by quickly dismantling the Nazi power structure. However, challenges and controversies exist regarding the intense destruction wrought upon the city and its civilian population. The ethics of causing extensive civilian suffering in pursuit of a swift victory remains a topic of debate. Despite these complexities, Berlin's fall directly influenced the reorganization of Europe. The city's division into sectors controlled by the Allies marked the genesis of the Cold War, underscoring Berlin's ongoing strategic importance. This division eventually led to the Berlin Airlift and the construction of the Berlin Wall, highlighting Berlin as a pivot of geopolitical tension for decades to come. Consequently, Berlin's fall signified not just the end of the Third Reich, but the beginning of a new era in global politics, demonstrating its profound strategic importance in shaping 20th century history. The Battle for Berlin. Military operations and tactics represents the final major offensive of the European theater during World War II. Taking place from April to May 1945, this crucial military confrontation marked the close of the Third Reich. Defined by its intensity and strategic importance, the Battle for Berlin involved complex military operations carried out by Soviet forces aiming to capture the German capital, effectively ending Nazi rule. It symbolizes not only a physical struggle for territorial control, but also a decisive moment in the collapse of a tyrannical regime. The significance of the Battle for Berlin lies in its role in bringing World War II in Europe to a conclusion, highlighting the defeat of Nazi Germany and establishing the Soviet Union's influence over Eastern Europe. This battle expedited the end of the war, leading to the unconditional surrender of Germany on May 7, 1945, thereby reshaping the geopolitical landscape and setting the stage for the Cold War. Illustrating this, one can examine the Soviet use of massive artillery bombardments to weaken German defenses and the strategic encirclement of the city, which involved over 2.5 million Soviet troops. These tactics reflected meticulous planning and determination, showcasing the might of the Soviet military machinery. Another example is the fierce, methodical house-to-house combat within the city, emphasizing the importance of urban warfare in this final confrontation. These real-world applications highlight logistical and strategic challenges faced during such a large-scale offensive. Opinions supporting the significance of this battle emphasize its inevitability in the context of the overarching Soviet push toward Berlin. viewing it as a righteous endeavor to topple a vicious regime. Historians often debate the necessity of the level of destruction, questioning whether the toll on civilian and military lives was justified by the political ends achieved. Potential challenges in the discussion of this battle include differing perspectives on the ethics of warfare tactics used and the immediate post-war political implications, including Soviet occupation policies that sparked controversies regarding human rights abuses and set the Iron Curtain across Europe. The battle for Berlin connects intrinsically with other aspects of the main topic, such as the eventual division of Germany and the dawn of a new global order. It underscores the extent to which military strategy directly impacted political outcomes, leading to the emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers. Thus, this pivotal battle is a cornerstone in understanding the end of the Third Reich and the onset of the Cold War era.